Hello everyone, and so nice to connect with you guys. I'm going to upload this video onto my YouTube channel, so if you haven't subscribed yet to In the Flow with River, I hope you will, and set yourself up for notifications. And also feel free to share this video with anyone that you think it could be helpful to. All right, so the topic is, I had put up a post on Facebook a while ago asking if anyone wanted me to talk about dating and relationships, and I got a pretty good response, and a lot of people said, yeah, can you do that? So I work as a clinical therapist, and a lot of what I do with my clients actually is centered around relationships. A lot of the work that most of us are doing is either the relationship that we have with ourselves or the relationships that we have with other people. And over the years, kind of the evolution of it, I don't even know how it came to be, but I started becoming a dating coach in essence for my clients. Part of it is that when I got divorced back in, I think 2011, I was just completely taken aback by the whole dating scene, the internet and everything else, and it's just progressed over the last 7 years. So I have really learned a lot from my own experiences. I tell my clients, here are the rookie errors that I've made. Here's what I've learned. And I think that it's one of those things that is very different in this day and age. And so we need to kind of reorient ourselves to a new way of thinking about dating and how we're putting ourselves out there. So I thought I would share just some of the tips that I talk about with my clients in terms of when they're beginning the dating process and some things to do. And I guess if this video generates enough interest and response where people want more, I would be happy to share more with it. But I just thought I'd start with some of kind of the basics. So the first thing is when you decide to start dating, whether you're using online dating or apps or whatever, be clear about what it is that you want. Be clear about what you're looking for. First and foremost for yourself, you really need to know, what is it that I want? Why am I doing this? Am I wanting a relationship? Am I wanting to just date and kind of put myself out there? Am I just looking for companionship? Am I looking for something else? Be really upfront about what you're really putting yourself out there for. What is it that you want? So own that. So be yourself. Be clear about what you want. Second thing, I think this is critical, is to come with an open heart. If you have residual baggage that you're carrying around of past relationships, if you're still carrying around the hurt, the anger, the wondering about why something happened the way it did, go and do the work to heal and release that, because you cannot create a new future if you bring all of your past with you. You just can't do it. And I have watched far too many people still hurting from past relationships, and they think that the answer is, okay, go and get into another one and that will help me to heal. It doesn't. You just end up bringing whatever baggage you had and hurt and whatever trust issues or abandonment issues or any of that stuff, you just bring that into the new relationship. So anything that is residual that you have not dealt with or grieved or worked through, I really encourage you to do that work. Find a really good therapist that you connect with and do the work to heal around it. I've talked with a lot of people who they've been hurt by dating people who still have a lot of unresolved issues from their past relationships. So that is not a good way to start dating. You got to heal the past so that you can move forward into the future. Okay, my next one, be yourself. And I know that this seems so, like we all know this and we think about this, but really be yourself. I even tell my clients, be yourself so much so that it scares people off. Let people see who you really are, because anyone, and I'm joking about, I don't want you to really scare people away, but be yourself so much so that if someone doesn't vibe with who you are, that's not your person anyway. I think a lot of times when people are dating, it's like they're trying to be something that they're not, or they're trying to present themselves in a way that will make them more desirable. And the problem is when you do that, when you act in ways that are anything other than the essence of who you really are, the person that you're first shortchanging is yourself, because the real you is going to join the party at some point. The second thing is you may be attracting to someone that is only interested in the alternative version that you're presenting, not the real version. Then what happens when they find out who you really are? So it's a lose-lose scenario, because you're not being your real self, they're not being attracted to your real self, and then when your real self comes to the party, do they even like that person? So be your real self, be the person that you really are. Like, if I were to be dating and someone said, hey, let's go to the bar and get a drink, well, I'm not a drinker. I'm just not because of anything significant. I don't have an issue with people that are drinking. I just don't enjoy drinking alcohol. I'm a teetotaler, so that would not be authentic to me to want to hang out in a bar, right? That would just me not being myself. It's not where I would go to for myself. So why would I want to do that in a date? I might say something like, well, I really love to go hiking. Do you want to go for a hike? That would be me being me. And if they were like, well, no, I don't really like hiking, well, then that would probably be a deal breaker, because I love to be in nature. So be yourself. Don't try to be cool with things that you're like, no, I'm not really into that, or, whatever, because the right person is out there for you. But first and foremost, you need to be the right person for yourself, and you got to be authentic. You can't be anything other than who you are. So be your most vibrant, bright self. All right. This next one is one I wrote down some of the things that I thought were really important to highlight, and this one I think is by far one of the most critically important. Go slow. Go slow. In this day and age, what is happening is, because we have instant access to people, we can text, we can message, we can email, we can literally talk to anybody that we want almost at any given point in time. People are moving really fast in our world. Everyone is. And it's happening in the dating world. It used to be where somebody would go out on a date and you'd go, well, that was really nice. Let's see, maybe I'll see them again next weekend. Well, now it's you talk to somebody and you're talking 3 and 4 times a day or even more. You're seeing them multiple times. You may have a weekend where you go out on one date and it turns into a whole weekend date, and you're telling your whole life stories to each other, and before you know it, you think you know everything about that person, and it's only been 2 weeks. You guys, it's way, way, way too fast. Things are moving way too fast. You cannot fast track this. Getting to know someone is something that happens over time. You've got to really take your time and go slow. I think that if things move fast, they're going to burn out fast. So it's not a race. And just notice within yourself if you have any kind of temptation to move things along faster, and get curious about what that might be about. Take your time. It is, there's no rush. And even for people that are, in my age group, I'm going to be 48 in January, there's people that are like, oh, but I don't want to waste time. You know what? You need to be willing to waste time if you want to date and find the right relationship. And I would phrase it differently than wasting time, but you have to be willing to give up some of your time. And know that in giving up some of your time, that it's not going to all go with the right person. I'm learning this as an example. I'm working on figuring out how to do things like MailChimp and updating my website. And I have spent a lot of time, trying to figure things out and haven't made a whole lot of progress. That's part of the process, right? I'm not going to learn anything if I just say, well, I don't want to waste my time. My time's really valuable, and I just spent, 3 hours or 4 hours, and I got one thing accomplished. It wasn't wasted time, because it is all learning. If you want to date, you've got to be willing to say, okay, I am willing to give away however many hours a week, knowing that none of what I'm doing is going to guarantee that any one of these people that I'm talking to is going to result in a relationship. But I can make it a learning experience. I can have fun. I can get to know some nice people. Some of the people you might even meet may turn into being friends with whom you get connected to, and through them you end up meeting your person. So you really never know how these interactions with people are going to play out in your life. Be willing to give up some of your time. It's a good thing. And don't think of it as, I don't want to waste time. Think of it as, I'm investing in myself, and so I'm going to have to be willing to part with some of my own precious time, and that's really okay. So that's that one. All right, the next one, number 5. You're going to face a lot of rejection. You are going to go out with people and they're not going to like you. They're not going to be interested in you. They might not like the way you smell or the way you look or your taste in music or the things that you like to do. Whatever. It's fine. Because they're just saying, you're not right for me. And at the same time, you are probably going to reject some people. You're going to meet some people that you're going to go, gosh, maybe they're nice and have lots of great qualities, but it doesn't feel right. I don't feel like it's a fit. It's all good. That's just part of it. It's like I give people the analogy of like, if you go into Nordstrom's to try jeans on, they could have 50 different brands there for you, but maybe only 4 of them might work for you. It's all good. Doesn't mean that the other ones aren't good. It just means that only 4 work for you. You're not really rejecting anybody. You're just saying, I'm just looking for something that feels a little bit different to me, and vice versa. And that leads me to my next point. The moment that you realize, I don't see that this one's really gonna develop into anything, let that person know ASAP. I have lots of friends and clients that say, I don't want to hurt anybody. I really don't want to hurt somebody. Well, let me tell you this. Go and sit with people that really like somebody and they've gone on however many dates and then they don't hear from that person because they've been ghosted. You guys know what that term is, ghosting. It's a weird thing. But they sit there and they wonder, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Am I not enough of this? Do I need to be more of that? And they do all of this wondering about it. That hurts people. So if your goal and your intention when you're dating is, to really be in integrity, be clear about what you want, be yourself. The other thing too you got to be willing to do is to say, when you realize, hey, I just don't feel it, let that person know right away. Hey, it was really nice meeting you tonight. I'm glad that we had a chance to go out. Didn't really feel like the fit that I'm looking for, so I wish you well. And move on. And you're really not hurting somebody. And if somebody is hurt by that, then probably best that you move on, because really people need to be able to face rejection. I know different people in the entertainment industry. And one of the things that they talk about is you face a lot of rejection. All of them, the top level, actors and actresses and musicians, the really great ones, they face a ton of rejection. You're going to have to develop a thicker skin. I hate kind of talking in this way, but I think you have to. If you're going to be dating, if somebody says, hey, it's just not right for me, be cool with it, because they're saying, I feel like somebody else is going to be a better fit. You're not, and that's totally okay. Develop a thick skin where it doesn't hurt you. Why should it? Especially in the beginning when nobody really knows the other person, all you're doing is kind of feeling the energy, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But you've got to develop a thicker skin. You can't take it personally. If somebody says, this just didn't feel right, be grateful. Be really grateful, because better that somebody knows that now than you date somebody and then in 3 months or in 6 months, you've spent more time with them, you've really gotten to know them more. If you have children, you've introduced your children to them, you've gotten them involved with your family and your friends. Wouldn't it be better to find out that it's not the right fit as soon as you realize it than to invest any additional time? That is, my friends, what I would call a waste of time. That would feel like a time waster to me, because then it's like, whoa, I knew this wasn't right, and yet I still continue to do that. Don't be that person. Don't do it. So as soon as you know, let people know, and do it with kindness. Remember that we're all out there, and we all have hearts, and we all want to be loved and seen, and to know that we matter. And we're all just looking for somebody that sees that in us. So, there's a lot of people out there that are dating that are getting hurt along the way, and we can lessen that by showing up as our best selves and being kind. So you say, hey, I'm not feeling this, but I wish you luck. It's a good practice. So the next thing then leads into this, which we're already talking about, is being really honest. When you're sitting and you're talking with somebody and you're getting to know them, be your truest self, the self that you are with your closest friends, the self that you are with the people that you feel safe with. That is a good indicator of if the energy feels right. If you notice that it feels very comfortable to be honest and be yourself. If you find yourself kind of holding back or withholding, You got to pay attention to that. You really want to tune into, how do I feel in the presence of this person, and what am I tuning into and feeling within myself? So the next thing is really pay attention to the energy. Pay attention to the energy that you feel between you and that person. Pay attention to, how do I feel in this person's presence? A lot of times we'll notice feeling uncomfortable, insecure, missing, kind of like we're communicating, but it's not quite connecting in the right way that we would want it to connect. Pay attention to that. At the same time, you will meet people where you feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known this person for, 50,000 years. There's something so familiar. That is something to take notice of. What is the energy like when you sit down? Sometimes I joke with my clients and I tease them. I'll say, really, you could even go out on a date and just do this. And they might look at you and say, what are you doing? You say, I'm just feeling into our energy. And then they'll think, okay, you're a weirdo. And you go, yeah, well, I knew that already. No, but you really want to feel the energy. What does it feel like? When you go into a space, whether it's a home or an office, or you go somewhere and you just feel, and you're like, boy, this feels really good. Or you go somewhere and you're like, I don't have a good feeling. We all have had those experiences. That's because we're tuning into, what is the energy? What am I feeling in here? What am I feeling around me? What am I feeling between me and this other person? You really want to fine tune that so that you can start to feel when something doesn't feel right. Trust it. Trust when something doesn't feel right. Lean into that intuition. We all have it. You have it. Everyone has it. We all have it. You just have to learn how to work with it and how to listen to it in such a way that you really feel connected to your inner guidance, because in order for you to create a relationship, it can't be this. It can't be like, okay, so I figured out what I want. I've made my list. I've written down all the qualities that I want in a person, and here's what I want. It doesn't work that way, you guys. I did it. I did that. I literally wrote down, and I thought that this was the next level of me dating, was getting clearer about what I want from the other person. When I say get clear about what you want, I mean what you want for yourself. I want a relationship. I want a healthy relationship. I want a committed relationship. I want to get married. But, all right, coming back to this, you cannot special order your partner. You know what I mean? It's not like going into a restaurant and ordering off a menu. Like, okay, so I want somebody that's educated and has a great job and enjoys their career. I want somebody that's physically fit and really likes to exercise, because I love to exercise. And I want somebody that's vegan because I'm vegan. And I want somebody that's spiritually connected because I'm really spiritually connected. You cannot do that. I think that we think we know what's right for us, and I don't know that we really do. So be open to the idea of knowing what you want for yourself, but have no expectation of what that may look like. Some of the most amazing relationships that I know of are people that would say, yeah, I would have never picked this person. In fact, when we first met, we didn't even vibe with each other. I didn't like him, or I didn't like her. It's really interesting because they didn't go into it saying, okay, here's what I want, and I'm looking for that. I think we have to let go of that mentality. I don't think it works. We've got to be open to allowing, the right person to come into our life, and being okay and cool with not knowing what that person is going to be like. We think we know what's best for us, when I think we got to be open to the possibility that we don't know, but we know when something feels right. And so if we can just tune into that, tune into what feels right. I was in a relationship with someone where I, as I said, I kind of special ordered, the person, and it's literally like in Mary Poppins, that movie where they write out exactly what they want, and Mary Poppins shows up, but she was exactly that. Well, I wrote out everything that I wanted. I mean, I wrote it down in my journal, and I really thought about it, and I just would visualize that person. And I got that person. And on paper, it was like we matched up and lined up perfectly. Perfectly. It was like you could not have scripted a better partnership on paper. The real life story, though, was not that. It wasn't a really harmonious relationship. So that was a great lesson. And I think I know what's good for me. Maybe not. Maybe the universe and God knows maybe a little bit better. I don't know. I'm gonna just lean into that. Okay, so paying attention to the energy, knowing that you're willing to be open to lots of different possibilities and just getting curious about what's going to feel right. And then the next thing is, this is my last one for this video. Have fun, you guys. It should be fun. Dating should be a lot of fun. It shouldn't be like this sprint to the finish line and okay, I've got to, we had a great date this weekend. We talked about everything, and I talked about our family, and we talked about her childhood, and we talked about his divorce, and we talked about you guys, that's not fun. Find fun things to go and do. Connect, spend time with each other, do things that you both enjoy doing. Don't make the getting to know you process like a task-oriented thing. It should be an unfolding, an organic unfolding. The cool thing with apps and the internet is that now people, when they want to, they have the opportunity to connect with a lot of people that in our everyday life we wouldn't necessarily ever run into. But at the same time, we have to be really discerning about it so that we're wise and thoughtful, and we're taking our time, and we're allowing the process to be organically what it can be. I have seen people meet people through the internet and through apps, dating apps, and have found their partners and found wonderful partners. And it's wonderful to see that, and it's exciting, and it makes me hopeful for other people. But you have to remember, there is a lot of nonsense out there, so you have to sift through that. And that's one way to sift through a lot of it is by being very authentic, because the more authentic you are, you will truly detract from you anybody that wouldn't be right for you. So I think the more honest, the more vulnerable, and the more real you are, you're going to attract somebody that's going to be more your type of person, and vice versa. Okay, and this is one more thing. When you're doing your profiles, because I've worked with a lot of my clients on their profiles, think about what you're putting out there. So when you're posting pictures, think about the types of pictures you're putting out there, and think about, do they really represent the essence of who I really am? And also, when you're looking at pictures and profiles, look at that. How are they presenting themselves? The one common joke that I say to both men and women, and I truly believe this, and I might get a little slack from it, but I'm willing to take it. Men sometimes will post pictures of them like in a towel in their bathroom, or being super muscular and whatever, and women sometimes will post pictures of themselves in a bikini. And I've had both male and female clients that have told me this. I think if you're posting those kinds of pictures, you got to be wondering about the depth of what that person is really looking for, right? Because physical attraction is for sure an important piece of it. And you can get that just by looking at a person's picture. I don't know that we necessarily need to see a naked body to do that. I would question that. When I work with people and coach people, one of my rules of thumb that I say is, if you're seeing those kinds of pictures, swipe whichever way you're supposed to swipe or exit out, because I don't know that that's somebody that's presenting the best the sides of them when they're putting those kinds of pictures up. I kind of question that. And if there's sarcasm or like they didn't take time to write anything meaningful about themselves, I think that there's ways to be really clever and write meaningful things that elicit interest, and without oversharing too much. So pay attention and read those profiles, and at the same time really be thoughtful about what you're putting out there. Put something in your profile that really talks about who you are and so it's a point of opening up some kind of communication. So you put in there that you hiked, on this trail, and you went here and you went here. It sounds like you really like hiking. What's, the most beautiful place that you've ever been? What's your favorite place to hike? That might be something I might put on there, and you're hoping that somebody says, hey, I want to hear more about that. So share your interests, share some of the things that you really love, and see what you get from people. Anyway, I hope some of these things help. I look forward to connecting with you more. If you have questions or more ideas or more thoughts about dating, I think it's like you do a whole series of talking about this. But, the biggest thing is to put yourself out there and just be you. Make it fun. Don't take it so seriously. Go slow. and pay attention to how you feel. You know, you want a relationship that brings out the best in you and makes you feel secure and comfortable and more yourself. That's what you want to be looking for. So until next time, I send you love, much love, great love.